We have got the NFC North. We're doing our football predictions. Season is getting closer and closer, and NFC North is very special for me. I'm a Bears fan. I have some hot takes. So, Jack,
So, Sammy, so how about you give your predictions from top to bottom. Since Ori's not here, we can do it a different way. You'll give your predictions from last to first, and then I'll go and give my predictions from last to first.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so last place, surprise. I have the Minnesota Vikings. You did not think I was going to have
If you're
the
watching this on
Vikings.
YouTube, my eyes bugged out a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to put the Lions in last place, but the Vikings not looking like a great team. And I have them with 7 wins, which isn't horrible. They have a tough schedule. They're playing some really tough teams. And yes, I like Cousins. I think he's underrated. Yes, I like Cook. He's an absolute monster. But their defense was the main attraction of that team. That was really what made that team good. And they're depleted. They lost some huge pieces. Everson Griffin is gone. And some other guys, Xavier Rhodes, goodbye. And those are 2 of their best players on that defense. Yes, they still have Daniil Hunter, but he's not going to be able to make as much impact because now, without the other guys in that line, you can just put extra blockers on them, and it won't really matter. Vikings defensively really depleted, and offensively, they lose Stephon Diggs, huge blow. Now, takes their receiving core from a few years ago, one of the best in football, and now I'd say they're on the bottom end. Vikings, not looking like a great team this year. I'm going to now move on to 3rd place, and now I have the Lions. I'm going 8-8, which may be a little high, but I think the Lions are a good team, an underrated team. And the biggest thing they did this offseason was 3rd pick in the draft. They bring in Jeffrey Okudah from Ohio State. He was a monster in college. He's going to be a monster in the NFL. And yes, you lose Darius Slay. But I think you can almost replace that with Okudah. He is that good, that athletic, that talented. And offensively, the Lions are an underrated team if, big if, they can stay healthy. Stafford has had health issues over the years. Last year, he missed most of the season. But if he can stay healthy, he's one of the best arms in the game, and he's really an underrated QB in this league. Kerryon Johnson can be a stud as well if he's healthy. In the receiving core, honestly, top 10 in football if they're healthy. You got Kenny Galladay, you got Marvin Jones, you got Hawkinson, who I think can make a huge impact on this offense, and also Danny Amendola, who was solid last year from the slot. Good team, Lions, underrated team, 8-8. That's where I got them. 2nd place, I got the Green Bay Packers.
What a surprise! Sammy has the Bears in 1st place.
Yeah, but I'll talk about the Packers first. I have them with, let me just check. I have the Packers with 10 wins, a good team all around, as much as I hate them. Devontae Adams is a beast. Aaron Jones, super underrated, one of the best running backs in the game. Aaron Rodgers, as much as I hate him, is still one of the best QBs. And they're a good team. Defensively, Zadarius Smith, and they've just got a really good core defensively. Zadarius Smith is highlighting that. Packers are still a good team, still a playoff caliber team. But in 1st place, the Chicago Bears. I could go on and on and on and on and on about why the Bears will be in 1st place. I have them winning 11 games, 11-5 for Chicago, and we did a whole hot take about this a while ago, but the bottom line is defense. They have top 3 defense in football, maybe even the best defense in football. You bring in Robert Quinn this offseason. A huge blow today, actually. Artie Burns, cornerback we bring in, tears his ACL, but we'll be fine because we have Kyle Fuller, Eddie Jackson, Roquan Smith, one of the best young linebackers in the game, and defensively, they are going to dominate teams. And that's the bottom line with this team. The offense has to be adequate for them to win games. The QB situation is going to improve.
Certainly adequate. Mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre, yep. And they'll be, I think, a little better than mediocre. Yeah, it depends on a lot of things. I think Trubisky.
Some would say atrocious.
Trubisky is not going to be starting. Foles is probably going to get the starting
Some would say
job.
pitiful.
Let me talk. But yeah, Foles is going to get the starting job, I believe, and I think he's going to be really good. He's not perfect, but he's a huge improvement from where we were. David Montgomery, our running back, really solid. And Allen Robinson, I talked on and on and on and on about this guy, but he's one of the best receivers in the league. Offensively, I think that's good enough to be adequate, and that's all this defense is going to need to be good. Bears, 11 wins. I don't think that's too much for the Bears. I think that's just right. And I'm going to let Jack go on with his NFC North predictions. I got Vikings in last, Lions in third, Packers in second, Bears in first. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, so I took a more traditional route to these than Sammy did. I have the Lions in last place with 6 wins. I have them going 6-10. I think there's a lot of question marks with them. Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback when healthy. Kerryon Johnson is a good running back when healthy. Chef Okuda is supposed to be a stud, but he's a rookie. There's a lot of question marks around this team, and that's why they have a pretty tough schedule. I have them going 6-10. Think they could do more than that. Think they could do. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 8 games. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 4 games. I split the difference. I had them going 6-10.
Now, I think just to add in, I think 8-8, which I had them at, is their ceiling. I think they're not going to win more than 8 games.
I agree with that.
I think their floor is also pretty low. I think they could win as few as 3 or 4 games because a lot of things have to go right. I happen to think they will, but injuries have to fall into play. Okuda has to be good. A lot of things have to kind of fall into place for the Lions to win just 8 games. I think they could win 3 or 4. I don't think they will, but 8-8 is their ceiling.
Yeah. So anyway, I have a tie in third and second place at 9-7. So I'll just say for the sake of argument, Packers are my third place team, but they're tied with the Vikings at 9-7. So I have the Packers going 9-7 just because they do have a pretty good defense. And Sammy,
Dude.
I see that look on your face.
You put the Bears in first?
I did put the Bears in first.
Thank you, Jack.
I get a pat on the back from Sammy.
Virtual pat on the back. Oh.
Virtual, yep. Social distancing. We are being safe. If you guys want to prove that we're being safe, you guys can do that by watching us on YouTube at Chatter from the Cheap Seats podcast. Or actually, I think it's just Chatter from the Cheap Seats. Yep, just Chatter from the Cheap Seats. You guys can leave a question at our voicemail, 202-743-1767. 5-star rating and review, Apple Podcast, Chatter_Cheap Seats Pod, Instagram, TikTok. Quick plug. That is how it's done, ladies and gentlemen.
So, yeah, Packers and Vikings, you could go on about them.
Yeah, so Packers, I think their defense is good. I think that's fair. Aaron Jones is a good football player. Devontae Adams is a beast. However, I think that their offense, they should have taken a wide receiver. I think it's really going to hurt them, the lack of wide receiver, the lack of targets they give Aaron Rodgers, and also Aaron Rodgers is getting up there, man. He did not have I mean, we don't know. I think I would not be shocked if he has a great year next year, but I would also not be shocked if he has a subpar year next year. He's 36. He's getting up there, and I really don't think that he has much left in the tank. Now, I could be completely wrong about this. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if he had a great year. But I also, like I said, wouldn't be shocked if he had a bad year. I don't think he has that much left in the tank, and that's why I have them going 9-7. Now, the Vikings, I originally had them going 10-6, but you did make some fair points, Sammy, and that's why I kind of took it down a notch. I think Dalvin Cook is a beast. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. Adam Thielen's really good. I think Harrison Smith is a good safety. Obviously, yep. Danielle Hunter. Like you said, they could double team him, but that does open up opportunities for other people on the defense. So even if he isn't getting his sacks, he's still creating opportunities for other players on the team. Yeah. Kyle Rudolph is always dangerous. I think Anthony Barr. They're a pretty solid team, and that's why I have them going 9-7. But let's move on now to what Sammy wants me to. This is what Sammy came for. He's so excited to hear me gush about the Bears.
I'm very excited to hear you gush about the Bears.
So anyway, Bears are pretty good. That's it. 10-6.
10-6. All right. That's
no,
fair.
I'm kidding. I have them going 10-6. I think Nick Foles is going to win the starting job for Mitch Trubisky. I think Nick Foles has the potential to be a really good quarterback. But again, every time you've seen him outside of Philadelphia, he hasn't been that good. And that's a little worrisome. I do think he's going to have a pretty good year. I don't think he has to be good. I think he has to be mediocre.
Yep, exactly.
Let's move on now. Allen Robinson is a big question mark. David Montgomery is
Well, Allen Robinson is a question mark.
injury-wise.
No, he was healthy last year. I mean,
one
maybe.
season in like the past 4 years.
I don't
He's
know.
only
I wouldn't say.
26. Jeez.
Yeah, he's super young.
Thought he was-
I wouldn't say question mark injury wise. I mean,
I would say it is not unfair to call him injury prone.
yeah, fair. I mean, if they lose him, I think the receiving core isn't as bad as people would say.
No, I mean, Ted Ginn Jr. isn't awful.
No, Anthony Miller is
Darnell
phenomenal.
Mooney. Yeah, and I mean, they're Cordell Patterson.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's interesting. Just a little tidbit. He's actually listed in training camp as a running back, which the Bears have used him. Bears
Really?
used him a little bit last year from the backfield, and he's listed as a
He's
running.
fast, man. He's their kick returner.
Oh man,
right?
when we used him as running back, he was super effective because he's a big guy, but he's also super fast and agile. I'd actually like to see him at running back a little bit, line up. But yeah, from the wide receiver slot too, he's also very effective.
Yeah. So anyway, so their defense. I mean, Khalil Mack's one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Roquan Smith is another one that's really good. Eddie Jackson, one of the best, I would say,
Yeah.
top 3 safety in the NFL.
Yep.
Would you agree with that, Sammy? Like, I'd say he's the number
Absolutely.
3 safety in the NFL, maybe 2.
You can make
not
the
one.
argument. I think
Jamal's better.
I think
Jamal's better.
going into last year, I think you can make the argument Eddie Jackson just because of all of his he would
Sammy,
constantly
take your
have touchdowns.
biased out of this. I know I am very biased with the Yankees. I know I'm a little bit of a Yankee boy, but come on. Jamal's better.
I think there's an argument to be had. I do think Jamal's better, but I think going into last year there was an argument to be had for Eddie Jackson.
Okay. I mean, but I mean, their defense just doesn't stop Eddie Goldman, FSU product. I mean, they're
Opted
really.
out, but
He did opt out, but I know.
Yeah.
But I just had to throw in the FSU product.
yeah, Akeem Hicks didn't talk about him. Monster.
Yeah, they're a solid team, man, and I think that they're gonna have a good shot of going deep in the playoffs. But that is going to do it for us on your favorite podcast, your friend's favorite podcast. If you know someone that likes sports, tell them about your podcast. If you like sports, listen to it. And just, if you have a friend that you think might like it, just tell them. It takes 2 seconds. It really helps us out. Leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps us out. Voicemail 202-743-1767. 202-743-1767. 202-743-1767. Burn it into your brain. As Sammy is, burn it into your brain.
Burn it.
Yeah, burn it, baby. Burn it, baby. Burn it, baby. But yeah, chatter_cheap seats pod, TikTok and Instagram, chatter from the cheap seats. YouTube, subscribe and like all our videos and comment. And yeah, so Sammy, any last words?
Fun episode, missing Ori, but I think he'll be back next time. So
Are we though?
we're missing Ori.
I'm just
we're
kidding. We're missing
Ori.
Ori. We're missing Ori.
We are. Yeah.
Love ya, Ori, if you're listening.
Yeah, but fun episode. As always, gotta say that. Liked recapping the Bears. I was very happy to see what Jack had to say about the Bears.
Pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly surprised, and yeah, super excited for next episode. Baseball, football, basketball, all the sports. Hockey, Blackhawks, I think, play.
You gotta love
tonight or tomorrow.
sports.
Yep.
Yep. Capitals. I don't know what the score is. They were down 2-0. They came back to make it 2-2 against the Islanders, desperately trying to avoid the sweep. Not looking too bright for them. But anyway, yeah, it's just like Sammy said, fun episode. I already did all the plugs, but double plug, 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcast. If that's the only thing you can do out of all of these, that is the most important. Give us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps us out. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcast also. And yeah, fun episode, as Sammy would say. And yeah, so see you guys next time on Chatter from the Cheap Seats.